All right, you guys, let's talk willpower and discipline. Very, very important things, very important tools that no matter what kind of program, nutrition program, fitness program, or anything that you're doing, you need to have those tools in order for long-term success and sustainability of your results. So I recently posted a video on my YouTube channel about cheat days and the keto diet. Got a lot of inquiries about it, got a lot of questions, and people, just inquiring about my stance on the subject of cheat days and cheat meals. And here you go. First off, if you haven't seen the video, take a look at it. It is on my YouTube channel, Janine Escobar on YouTube, or if you go to the link in my bio on Instagram, you can click and see it there. But basically, my philosophy on cheat days is this. Willpower and discipline are skills that you need in order to sustain your lifestyle and to sustain weight loss results for the long term, so that you can stop gaining and losing the same weight, so that it could be lifelong results, so that you can lose it once and it's done. I know a lot of you out there, like myself, have probably yo-yo dieted for a very long time. Sometimes you're thin, sometimes you're heavier, you go back and forth. A few years back, I decided that I no longer wanted to yo-yo diet. I put a stop to it, learned some important skills that I now teach my clients for long-term sustainability. Because honestly, the harder part is keeping the weight off and being consistent, because the thrill of losing the weight is sometimes easier because you're working towards a specific goal, but to stay at the same or around the same can be oftentimes much, much more difficult. So in order to stay the course for long-term, for a full lifestyle change, it is not realistic to think that you are never, ever going to indulge again, that you're never going to have the pizza, you're never going to have the donuts, you're never going to go a day where you're not tracking or paying attention to everything that you put into your body. It is just not realistic. The truth is, strength in your willpower and discipline and impulse control is something that can be strengthened. It is like a muscle. And if you strengthen it, you get better at it, and it becomes easier over time. If you ignore it and never use it and never, and just try to avoid all temptation, then when you have no choice but to be faced with temptation, guess what? You're not going to have the skills in order to avoid the temptation, or you're going to give in to the temptation, and you're not going to have the skills to stop. You're not going to have the skills to be able to give in to the temptation temporarily, but get right back to things. And oftentimes that's what leads to what I like to call a runaway train. So if you're someone that is on a strict diet for a long period of time, and you've decided that you're not going to ever indulge, you're not going to have a cheat, what happens when one day you just finally take that cookie? What happens is the floodgates burst open, and it is very, very difficult to close those floodgates. Very difficult, almost impossible. And I call it like the runaway train. So how do you stop that from happening, right? How do you stop that runaway train, or that desire to keep going when you finally do have a cheat? Because I know that's people's biggest fear. They'll have some success on the diet, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid to give in and not be able to stop myself. And the key is to give in a little more frequently. Don't go long periods of time, because you're draining that willpower tank. You're draining it to where when you finally do have something, it's the impulses are much stronger. If you go less periods of time in between, giving in a little bit, then you're not fully draining that tank. Okay. But one thing that's really important, and what I often coach my clients, is just because I say you can have a weekly cheat meal does not mean that you decide on a whim that it's your cheat meal, because the process of having that cheat meal is still teaching you discipline and self-control, believe it or not, because the cheat meal is to be planned. It is never to be something that's impulsive. It's not to be something that, you know, if somebody comes in to your office with a box of donuts and donuts are your favorite, you just decide on a whim, okay, this is going to be my cheat meal. Don't do that, because that will be counterproductive to the exercise and what I'm trying to teach. The key is to exercise self-control, plan the cheat meal, to be able to decline those donuts, even though you're hungry and those are your favorite. But maybe you'll decide, you know what? That made me think about donuts. That is something that now I would like to have, but I'm not going to have them today because my cheat day is Saturday or Sunday or whatever day it's planned. I will indulge in some donuts on Sunday. It's exercising discipline and self-control and impulse control, but at the same time, allowing yourself to enjoy the donuts so that it's not something that's going to be on your mind forever. You're in control. You decide that you want them, but you're not going to have them right then and there. I mean, I can go on and on about this. It's something that I spend a lot of time with my clients, because it is really the key to long-term sustainability, is being able to give in sometimes and reel it back in, and not depleting that willpower tank, because it's something that can be depleted. And when it's depleted, it can be very dangerous to your results. But also understanding that willpower and strength of willpower is something that can be strengthened over time, just like a muscle. I often use the analysis like you have to train your kids about, you know, the bad things out in the world. You have to talk to them about it. You can't coddle your kids and then one day they go off into the real world and they don't have the skills in order to handle it. It's very similar, right? It's like if I don't train my clients how to handle those feelings and how to, you know, indulge sometimes, but reel it back in, then, if they are in a situation where they walk into a bakery for some coffee, but there is, you know, a bunch of donuts in the case, will they have the skills in order to resist that impulse control? And so that's my whole, you know, idea on having cheat meals is, for one, balance, because life is short and it's nice to be able to take a break sometimes and enjoy the things that you love, but to be able to enjoy the things that you love without ruining your progress and still maintaining results and still feeling good about yourself and having control over food, not letting food have control over you. It's all part of the bigger picture. Anyways, I could go on and on about this. I'm sorry for the rant today, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more. If you're interested in some of my philosophies on cheat days, you can also watch my YouTube video, Cheat Day Uncensored, which is on YouTube. You can find me, Janine Escobar, on YouTube. But thanks for watching.